Bogota, Mexico City, Paris, and Boston. These are some of the world's worst cities when it comes to traffic congestion. This congestion is causing more harm than just taking up a large portion of our time. It's contaminating the air that we breathe. Furthermore, the environmental bads resulting from congestion are concentrated to those living near busy roads who often belong to a lower social class. In 2016, the air in Mexico City got so bad that cars that did not meet emission standards were ordered off the road 1 day a week, but this didn't solve the problem. A combination of policy choices has made it easier to own a car, but perhaps a more important point, the middle and upper classes avoid taking public transit. Every time you take the bus, subway, or streetcar instead of driving or ordering an Uber, you're reducing greenhouse gas emissions, which are currently to blame for a multitude of environmental problems, such as rising temperatures and rising sea levels. However, public transit use around the world is projected to decrease 30% as the world's lower class becomes wealthier. Project Drawdown argues that if we can find a way to slow down this decrease between now and 2050, it would save 7.5 to 23 gigatons of carbon dioxide emissions from cars, as well as save consumers 2.1 to 6.6 trillion US dollars in mobility costs. Even in cities that have robust public transport networks, by using our sociological imagination, we can discover the reasons why some people may choose to drive themselves to school or work instead of taking public transit. Thorsten Veblen coined the term conspicuous consumption to describe the use of purchasing goods and services to signal our wealth and power. From this perspective, we can argue that as one's accumulation of wealth increases, the less likely they are to take public transit to work and instead opt to drive themselves or take an Uber to signal to others that they have the wealth that allows them to lead a comfortable lifestyle. Having a car or having access to Uber is what Fred Hirsch would argue are positional goods, objects that increase our social status because of their scarcity and physical and social limits. Hirsch goes on to argue that this element of scarcity is what makes these objects desirable, thus making it appealing to slowly destroy the environment in favor of increasing our social status. So how can we make those belonging to the middle and upper classes take public transit more often? First, we must change our sentiments and our motivation towards the goods we purchase. As Veblen pointed out, the goods we own show how we're connected to others. So if you want to increase your public transit usage, you must surround yourself with those who want to do the same. Seek out friends who live near you and take the bus to school together. Second, since the middle and upper classes have a choice to take public transit, public transport networks must make their services efficient, safe, and comfortable. One aspect of public transit that deters people from using it is the risk of sexual harassment, which Plan International found is one of the biggest safety risks that girls and women face in cities today. The TTC has interventions in place to prevent these and other types of offenses from happening, including having uniformed employees at stations, passenger assistance intercoms in designated waiting areas, and yellow emergency strips on subway cars. Other cities around the world have interventions such as laws and reporting programs in place to protect the safety of their riders. For example, riders on the tube can report offenses by text message, and subways in Mexico City have women-only carriages. Third, governments must intervene to prevent people from driving within cities and invest in public transit systems. For example, London introduced the congestion charge in 2003, which forces most drivers to pay £15 each day they drive into central London. 3 years later, central London experienced a 30% reduction in congestion. The charge has encouraged people to enter the zone by bus and has given the streets back to cyclists and pedestrians. While Toronto does not have a similar charge in effect, you can still easily get to the downtown core from the suburban periphery using our commuter rail system, Metrolinx. The system has several benefits that you should be taking advantage of. In recent years, parking garages have been built at the busiest GO stations to meet demand. Metrolinx also pays for parking, so you don't have to pay for parking every time you want to ride the GO train. Consider yourself lucky, as the same is not true for other major commuter rail systems in North America, such as Metra, Chicago's commuter rail system, and Metro North, where you're charged for parking except on weekends. All these investments in transit demonstrate ecological modernization theory, as the government has realized the only way we can move our economy forward is by reducing emissions from congestion through improving and increasing access to transit. If public transit is an option you ignore, take advantage of the transit systems at your disposal and think of the benefits it has on the environment and the air you breathe the next time you need to make a journey.